Hey students, this is our table saw in the lab. So our table saw is one of the workhorse pieces of equipment, and it also can be one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment. So let me kind of walk you around the table saw a little bit so you can get oriented with it. Obviously we have our on-off buttons over here. This front dial seen here is going to raise that blade up and down. So let me just give you an example of that. So that blade will go up and down, and the blade can go up just probably a little less than 3 inches. Speaking of which, when we're running our material through the table saw, we probably want to have that blade probably a 1/4 inch above our material. All right. Now the table saw can also cut angles, and this is something we don't do very often. Matter of fact, in here you're going to see me before you do it. But this right here will take that blade from a vertical position or 90 degree to the base, and it will turn like this. Once again, if you're going to have to do something like that, you're going to let me know first. This is going to be the rip fence on our table saw, and that rip fence, once again, there's the lever for it. Move left and right, and that's going to help you determine the width of your cut. For instance, this is a student project. This board has one straight edge, and we need to square this off, and I think we're going to cut this board at approximately 9.5 inches in our next video. So those are some of the components to the table saw. Keep in mind that blade is going to spin real fast. It's going to spin directly at you, so you don't want to stand in front of the blade when making your cuts. And lastly, our guard system. So our guard will generally be in this down position while cutting, and in the next video you'll see it in action. So I've just moved the rip fence, so it's 9.5 inches from that edge of the rip fence to the right side of the blade. So I want to double check that measurement. As I look, that is 9.5 inches, and now I'll be ready to make my cut. Let me move the camera over here. So this board is going to be cut to 9.5 inches. I only have one straight edge, so I'm going to take a look. This is my straight edge. I've already run through the joiner, so it's an S3S board, and I'm going to cut this edge to make it 9.5 the entire way. So I'll put the guard down. I'm going to turn the machine on, and I'm going to make sure that that edge stays against this rip fence at all times. And I'm not going to stand directly in line with the blade. So here goes. So I shut the table saw down. I'm not going to take that scrap piece out of there until the blade is off. And because there was so much space between the fence and the blade, I did not need to use a push stick. But on narrow materials, you're going to have to, rather than run your hand by that blade, you're going to be using a push stick, pushing that material through. And in class, you're always going to want to have a helper on the back side so they can grab that material so you don't have to reach over that table saw. The next video will show a rip with a more narrow board and a little different of a process for that.